Something happened to you in this moment. Maybe you don't have words for it yet, but something inside you stirred, and I came to tell you exactly what it was. You carry a question that no one around you has been able to answer, and now you are going to hear the answer. You have been working harder than the people around you, and still the door hasn't opened. There is a clear reason for that. Have you noticed that in recent times, the same pattern of warning has appeared before you 6 times? They weren't coincidences, they were milestones, they were signs that a cycle was coming to an end, and that the waiting period was becoming a time of urgency. What I am going to deliver to you now is the contract of your revelation. By the end of this message, you will recognize the 6 precise moments when the warning was given and what they truly mean for your immediate future. You will understand the single mechanism of hesitation that has been blocking what you seek so deeply. And before we finish, there is a declaration I will speak directly about your life, the very reason this message reached you at this exact instant. Take a deep breath with me. Let it settle into the part of you that has waited the longest to hear this. You have been living in a constant state of alert, not from anxiety, but from an intuition that won't leave you in peace. You wake up feeling that something is different, even though your room and your day look exactly like yesterday's. You notice that certain numbers began to appear repeatedly, as if the clock wanted to tell you something you haven't fully understood yet. You had the sensation on 6 distinct occasions that you were standing before a choice that would change your destiny, but you felt a weight on your shoulders, a fear of crossing a threshold that seemed invisible to everyone else's eyes. That was not a failure on your part. It was not a lack of faith. It was a process of calibration. The distance you felt from people who were once close didn't happen because of a disagreement, but because of a necessary alignment that your spirit is forcing so that you become ready for what comes next. If at least one of these signs touched you, if your shoulders dropped at any point in the last few minutes as you realized you weren't imagining things, type the number 777 in the comments. Your fingers typing those numbers are your spirit saying yes to the truth that has finally found a place to land. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. The 777 represents the confirmation of what is hidden, the sign that you have stopped fighting against what is already sealed in your story. Attention! It seems like out of nowhere, everything in your life started going wrong at the same time. Your mind won't shut off, the problems keep piling up, and you're left wondering why right now. But what if it isn't random? The greatest battle begins when God is shaping you, not abandoning you. And that is exactly why this was created. The 7 principles of C.S. Lewis for the chosen. 7 principles to help you recognize the subtle detour, the noise, the distraction, and stand firm. And you are not alone. Many who were sinking have risen back to their feet. Your turn is now. So don't wait for the noise to get louder. Click the link in the comments or in the description and stand firm today. Story. Type 777 and come back to me. What has been holding you back is not a lack of opportunity, but the nature of your hesitation. You operate under a pattern of vigilant waiting, as if you were guarding a house that in fact is already ready to be opened. You believe you need to do more, try harder, study more, or wait for an external validation that never arrives, and that posture is what creates the feeling that the door is closed to you. You have mistaken your loyalty to routine for faithfulness to your purpose. The truth is that your hesitation is not fear of failing. It is the subconscious fear that if you cross that door, you won't be able to return to the version of yourself you have grown accustomed to protecting. You have been pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything, spending precious energy on a scenario your spirit left behind a long time ago. Imagine that your current life is an inner courtyard, surrounded by high walls you helped build to feel safe from the storms outside. You know every stone of that courtyard, every shadow, every corner, but there is a door in that wall you have always avoided looking at directly. You always knew it was there, but the habit of walking in circles inside that space became your comfort zone. What you didn't realize is that the sun has shifted. The light that once illuminated the center of the courtyard now falls directly on that door, revealing that it was never locked from the outside. It was just jammed by time and the dust of your hesitation. The door is moving, the structure of the wall is yielding space for something new, and the place where you have always been is no longer the place where you can flourish. Take a deep breath with me. Feel the stillness of your shoulders and allow that image of the courtyard and the door revealing itself in the sunlight to find its place in your consciousness. If something inside you has just aligned, if the image I showed you fell upon a place you cannot explain, and you feel ready for what is on the other side, type the words "I am here" in the comments. Let that acknowledgement seal this moment of readiness within your personal record. The act of typing those words makes your witness permanent in your own journey. Type it and come back to me. The solution to your distress does not require you to build anything new or acquire a skill you don't yet have. What is needed now is unlearning. It is the act of releasing the weight of expectations that others placed on your shoulders and that you accepted as your own burden. You don't need to deserve the passage, you just need to stop holding onto the walls of the courtyard you built. What held you back was the belief that you needed to justify every step, when in truth your movement is its own justification. Your advance is a return to your original nature, a softening of the defenses you created to survive and that have now become the only obstacle between you and the open door. You are being called to unlearn the need for control and to learn the art of surrender, trusting that if the door is opening now, it is because the path on the other side was prepared even before your first hesitation. You noticed the pattern, didn't you? You felt the weight of the count, that invisible movement that, for the 6th time, touched your life, as if a door was being unlocked while you thought it was being closed. I came to tell you exactly what it was. What I am going to deliver to you here is not for everyone listening. It is for you who senses time differently. By the end, you will recognize the 6 signs that have been appearing in your life and what they truly mean. You will understand the single pattern of hesitation that has been blocking what you seek so deeply. And before we finish, there is a declaration I will speak directly about your life. A seal that explains why this message found its way to you now. You have been noticing repetitions, haven't you? That number that appears on the clock, the phrase that repeats in unrelated conversations, the feeling that the atmosphere changes when you enter, the chill down your spine when you hear a name, the sudden conviction that a decision needs to be made, and the 6th warning, a longing for a place you have never been. These signs are not accidents. They are the calibration of your spirit. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. You have been operating on a frequency of waiting, as if pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything. You mistake exhaustion for faithfulness, but the truth is, you are only applying your hunger on the wrong path. There is an inner courtyard in your soul, a place you have never seen, but to which you have always belonged. For a long time, the door of that courtyard remained still, locked by the pressure of what was expected of you. But now, the door has shifted. It is opening. If something inside you has just sealed, if the image of your own path fell into a place you cannot explain, type the words "I am here" in the comments. Let the acknowledgement seal where it just landed. The act of typing those words makes the witness permanent in your own record. Type it and come back to me. It is not about effort. It is about unlearning resistance. The solution is not a to-do list. It is the return to your own voice that was silenced by generations of survival. Take a deep breath with me. Sit with that for a moment. If something in this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your amen without words, not as a metric, but as a deep agreement that what was named here was named correctly. There is someone in your life who needs exactly this message right now, someone who has been trying harder than everyone around them and still sees the door closed. Someone who walks quietly in a way no one around can explain, carrying a weight that seems invisible to the rest of the world. Someone whose face just came to your mind as I spoke. That expression of someone seeking a sign and not knowing where to look. Send this to that person now, not as a casual recommendation, but as an act of care. Just as it reached you by a warning that didn't come by chance, reach them. Let the same clarity that is operating in you serve as a guide for someone walking beside you in the same twilight. Before we move to the close of this moment, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Don't do this as a wish, nor as a distant hope. Type it as a confirmation that you accept the change knocking at your door. The agreement that has been forming in silence between heaven and your hearing is a pact you will live by for the rest of this season. Type slowly, feeling each letter, and let your fingers do what your spirit is already doing in secret. You heard the warning 6 times. 6 times life gave you an opportunity to stop, to look back, to recalibrate your course, but the rush of daily life and the weight of obligations pushed you forward. You wonder why things seem stuck, why the effort you put in doesn't find the answer you expected. The truth is that the countdown began not because time is running out for the world, but because the window of opportunity for your next level of clarity is closing. There is a pattern of repetition you haven't yet named, a sequence of warnings that knocked at your door in the form of strange coincidences, a fatigue that sleep cannot cure, or an inner voice that has become too loud to ignore. You have felt this urgent call, this sense that something needs to be resolved now, before the door shifts position. By the end of this conversation, you will recognize the exact nature of these 6 signs that have surrounded your path. You will understand why hesitation has been your greatest obstacle and what happens when you finally let go of what no longer belongs to you. And more importantly than that, I will name the seal you carry, a mark of identity that once recognized transforms your perception of everything you have been facing. The first of these signs is the repetition of what you call bad luck, but which is actually an alignment trying to force your attention. You have been going through situations where the same problems return, as if life is returning a lesson you have not yet learned to overcome. The second sign is the emptying of old connections. Conversations that once made sense now seem like noise, and silence has become your most comfortable place. The third sign is the awakening of your internal system at hours that are not yours, a forced vigil that has no biological origin but spiritual. The fourth, fifth, and sixth signs are the sense of urgency, the loss of interest in what once moved you, and the unshakable certainty that a definitive change is on its way. You have seen these signs repeat with mathematical precision. They are not problems, they are invitations. Take a deep breath with me now. Let that perception descend to the center of your chest. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. Type 777 and come back to me. The pattern that has stalled your advance is not lack of resources, nor lack of ability. It is hesitation. You have been operating from a posture of waiting, as if you needed external permission to occupy the space that is already yours. You pull ropes that are no longer attached to anything, trying to move a reality that has already shifted. This survival posture, inherited or built in pain, has made you accustomed to fighting even when there are no enemies left on the battlefield. You mistook your fatigue for faithfulness, but true faithfulness is not weariness, it is readiness. Imagine in this moment an inner courtyard. It is a vast place you have always possessed, but for years kept locked or covered in dust. In that courtyard there is a door. For a long time you believed that door was fixed, that it had always been there, in that dark corner where you placed it. But the truth is that the door is moving. It is realigning with your new frequency. You don't need to push the door. You need only to walk toward it, because the door is now positioned exactly where you are ready to cross. Hesitation is what keeps you away from the threshold. Type, and come back to me. The solution is not to build anything. You don't need more tools, more techniques, or more Herculean efforts. The solution is unlearning. It is releasing the roots that keep you anchored in soil that no longer nourishes you. It is softening the rigidity with which you have held the reins of your own life. When you stop struggling, you realize the door is not locked from the outside. It was just waiting for you to stop trying to break it down so you could simply turn the handle. Not as a metric, but as a deep agreement that what was named here was named correctly. There are people around you who walk as if the weight of the world were an ornament, but you know who they are because you carry the same invisible weight. There is someone in your life right now, someone who has been trying to maintain balance while the ground seems to sway beneath their feet. That person is exhausted from simulating strength they don't possess, and more than anything, they are seeking a light that doesn't come from outside, but from an understanding they can't even name. The face of that person is appearing in your mind now, not by coincidence, but by a silent call of recognition. Send this message to them, not as advice, but as a delivery. If it reached you as a confirmation that the waiting time is ending, allow the flow to continue through your hand. It is an act of care to offer to someone who also felt these warnings the same support you are finding here in this moment of clarity. Before this ends and you move on to what has been prepared for your journey, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Not as a wish, nor as a distant hope you try to reach. Type it as a confirmation that the pact between your spirit and the truth you just heard is sealed. The agreement that has been forming in silence between what is invisible and your hearing is a commitment that will sustain you for the rest of this season. Type slowly. Feel each letter being recorded as a milestone. Let your fingers do what your spirit is already understanding and integrating now. The door is open 6 times. 6 instances where reality bent to get your attention. 6 moments when synchronicity screamed while the world around remained in deafening silence. You have tried to ignore it, tried to rationalize it as mere coincidences or accumulated fatigue. But the truth is, your spirit has already recognized the signature of these events. The divine warned you 6 times, and now, at this exact moment, the timer of your own hesitation has reached its limit. You are not here out of curiosity. You are here because the door you have sought so much is about to shift position, and what I have to deliver to you is the map to not miss the exact moment when the passage becomes traversable. In this encounter, you will understand the anatomy of these 6 warnings you let pass without due attention. You will identify the hidden mechanism that makes you spin in circles, always stopping a few inches from your own liberation. And more importantly, you will finally align your frequency with what is being moved in the invisible, so that you can enter the new station with firm feet, without the baggage of what has already died. Observe the signs, that name that appeared in strange places and repeated in unrelated conversations, that sudden need for silence that became a social discomfort. The systematic awakening in the dead of night when the world sleeps and only your consciousness remains on watch. The feeling that your reflection in the mirror belongs to someone living in a different time than you. The intuition that has become so sharp it anticipates others' words. And the 6th sign, the subtlest of all, an unshakable certainty that something is about to be concluded, even though your routine seems unchanged. It is the smallest agreement, but it is the recognition of the milestone. The pattern that has blocked you is not lack of faith nor lack of merit. What has kept you stuck is the posture of active waiting, where you place yourself as a servant of a destiny you believe to be external. You have been pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything. You mistake exhaustion for faithfulness, believing that the more you suffer for the result, the more legitimate it will be. But the truth is, you have been performing for an audience that was never paying attention, while your true stage is being set in a corridor you refuse to cross. Imagine now an inner courtyard, a space you carry inside your chest. For years, you lived with a structure of walls that seemed immovable, fences that defined exactly how far your gaze could reach. You grew accustomed to living inside that courtyard, decorating your life with the limitations that were imposed on you or that you accepted as law. But now, the metaphor of the door that moves is the reality of your soul. That passage, which was once a solid wall, is shifting. It is not being opened by you, it is being repositioned by the flow of life you insisted on ignoring. Type and come back to me. The solution to this immobility is not extra effort. It is not about trying to force a lock that has moved. It is about unlearning. It is about letting go of the old bolt and allowing your consciousness to adjust to the new position of the passage. You don't need to build anything. The structure has already been repositioned. You only need to walk toward what your intuition, now purified by the 6 warnings, already recognizes as your new field of action. Life is not asking you for sacrifices of strength, but for the surrender of your resistance. What was an obstacle becomes, from this moment, your passageway. Breathe deeply and let this new perspective fill your nervous system. Not as a social media metric, but as a deep agreement that what was named here was named correctly, recognizing that truth doesn't need applause, only witnesses. Send this to that person, not as a casual recommendation, but as a delivery, a silent warning. Just as this message reached you, let it serve as a beacon for someone also seeking the exit. Before this ends, type the words, "I am the chosen one" in the comments. Not as a wish, nor as a hope, but as a confirmation. The agreement that has been forming in silence between the flow of life and your hearing is a commitment you will live by for the rest of this season. Type slowly. Allow your fingers to do what your spirit has already begun to accomplish. You are committed. You are sent. You are being led. Right now, all over the world, other people are receiving this same recognition and awakening to the door that has moved. You are part of something that does not announce itself with noise, and that is exactly why it is real. Attention! It seems like out of nowhere, everything in your life started going wrong at the same time. Your mind won't shut off, the problems keep piling up, and you're left wondering why right now. But what if it isn't random? The greatest battle begins when God is shaping you, not abandoning you. And that is exactly why this was created. The 7 principles of C.S. Lewis for the chosen. 7 principles to help you recognize the subtle detour, the noise, the distraction, and stand firm. And you are not alone. Many who were sinking have risen back to their feet. Your turn is now. So don't wait for the noise to get louder. Click the link in the comments or in the description and stand firm today.